Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our class. This is PCClassesOnline.com presents Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. Now, if you're here, it means you probably already know this, but Pages, Numbers, and Keynote are three software applications put out by Apple, and it's their own little version of Microsoft Office. If you have come to Mac from a PC and you were familiar with Office, you should probably know that there is also Microsoft Office for Mac. However, if you're a creative professional, there are a lot more fun things you can do with these three applications. And if you're trying to create something that's visually appealing, this is going to be a better solution for you than Microsoft's version. So we have three different applications to cover. Pages, which would be the equivalent of Word. We have Numbers, which is the equivalent of Excel. And of course, Keynote, which is the equivalent of PowerPoint. Now, of these three applications, one of them is definitely more popular than the others, and that is Pages. And we're going to start with that because a lot of what I'm going to show you in Pages does carry over to the other applications, and it's the most fun. So why don't we get started here? So if you don't have, by the way, iWork, any of these applications, you can get all of them right through the App Store, which you can get to by clicking on the Apple icon on your computer and clicking here where it says App Store. Let's go into Pages. So what's great is that, if you've played with Microsoft Office, they do give you some templates, but they're frankly kind of boring. This is a lot more. These templates pop. They've got a little bit of a personality to them. So if you scroll through here, you can see as soon as you open it, you are brought to the template viewer. We have everything from just a very simple blank canvas, if you want to just write. You have different letters, traditional, modern, photo, all sorts of different stuff in here. We scroll down further, we get into envelopes, okay? If you have a printer that will print on envelopes. All right. Invoices. Now, with my little small business, I actually use one of these. I actually use this one here. This one's called the Modern Photographer Invoice. And what's great is that with these templates, you can modify them and then create your own. We'll go over that in a little bit. Keep scrolling down. We have fax letters, tons of different resumes. Okay, if you're looking to get a job in this economy, you need to stand out above the rest. And I will tell you that these resume templates look very, very good. The key thing I've found anytime I go to hire people is that if you can't get it onto one page, it's not good. It's not a good sign. Tons of different resumes, and they just recently came out with a lot more, several more templates. Okay, I mean, look at how many, just in the resume category. It starts here on this one called Green Grocery Resume. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 17 different templates just for resumes. Okay. One of the things I tell, I don't get to work with young people often, but I say, if you can leave high school having mastered all of iWork and maybe QuickBooks, you will get a job. We keep going on here. We have different reports: visual report, school report, term paper, modern report. If you're a teacher, you can create a syllabus right through here. Lesson plans, project proposals, outlines of all different types. If you're into the TV or film world, you can do screenplay or a storyboard right through here. The storyboard one is actually very helpful. The screenplay one, not so much. Proposals, evaluations. These we will definitely be talking about. These are newsletters. And what's cool is that, the standard for creating a newsletter these days is a piece of software called InDesign, which is put up by Adobe. It's also about, I think, $800. And what's incredible is that if you know how to really work Pages, you can get it to do basically the same thing. So, sorry if you heard that noise in the background. We continue down. We've got brochures here. Everything from a trifold to just kind of a little twofold. And you can really ignore anywhere where there's content because you're going to replace their content with yours. That's why it's a template. Data sheets, flyers, all sorts of different stuff here. You know when you go to the grocery store and you see those little posters with the tabs at the bottom. They have them all done for you right here. Okay. Again, you just replace their image with yours. Posters of all different sizes, movie posters, tons of different stuff here. Greeting cards, birthday cards, little invites, business cards, although frankly for business cards you're better off getting those professionally printed because that's important. It represents you. Certificates and journals. That's a lot of templates to go through. So why don't we start off with talking about something on more the creative side? And let's start with one of these newsletters here because I promise we'll come back to it. So let's use this one here called Green Grocery. Oh, now one thing actually I wanted to show you that I accidentally just went over. That's okay. You may notice that on a lot of these templates, not all, but most, if I roll my mouse over, you'll see that these are not single page templates. These are full templates. So in other words, this isn't just for a one-page newsletter. This is to create a book. You could really create an entire newsletter right through this program. So we open up the template, and this is what we have right here. I'm actually going to go into a full screen mode here for a minute. Okay, so that way there's no distraction. So this is our, but then I lose all my tools. Okay, never mind. Take that back. So this is what we have to work with here. Now, a lot of these little things can be moved around, manipulated, and I'm going to show you how to do all of them. Let's start with the most simple of all, which is text. So obviously at the top here, we're not going to do Green Grocery Letter. Let's create a fake newsletter. Let's call it Organic Weekly. We'll just use the theme of vegetables for whatever reason. So all I have to do is double click where the text is here, 1, 2, and I just type over it. So let's type in Organic Weekly. There you go. Okay. And hold on. You can just, yeah, that's fine. Great, thank you. So all you do is type over it. Anything over here, like this right here, this little banner right here, you can just double click into that and type in your own thing. You can say, issue 3 or 4. Now you also have other things here. Like for example, you see these little tomatoes that are just kind of hanging out here? So these are just a very simple graphic. And what's great is if you don't really care about them, maybe you're not doing a newsletter about this, you can do a couple things. You can delete it, and to do that, you just click on it and hit the delete key. But maybe you want to put in something of your own little style. One of the tricks I learned a long time ago, we'll get to that in a minute. One of the tricks I learned a long time ago is that you can go to Google, okay, google.com, and you see up here at the very top left, it says images. Well, you can actually click on that. And just for this sake, let's just do, let's do broccoli. And what I can now do is I can take any of these images and I can right click, or Mac users, you can hold the control key if you like and click on your trackpad and hit download. Let's see, save image as, save image as, and save it wherever you want. Let's just put it right on the desktop. It's easy to use. Okay, and now I have that image there. So watch this. All I have to do is drag that image of broccoli on top of the tomatoes, and it replaces it, just like that. There's a couple other things we're going to go over here too. Let's get another image to play with here, because this is where you can get into some of the creative stuff. Let me get a basket of veggies. All right, now I'm going to try to find one that'll really work well for this. That's a little hard. Let's attempt to, oh, great, perfect. Let's do this one here. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to right click on it, save image as. I'm going to save it to the desktop. Now the other thing you can do is you can just drag your own graphics wherever you want. Okay, so let's take this big one right here. Okay, I can take that image and just drop it right on top of it. Okay, But what if I don't want that gray background? Well, I'm going to teach you a trick that I learned a long time ago for how to remove it. And what's great is that, back in the day, you used to need Photoshop to do this kind of stuff. If you want to remove the background or any color on an image, you can do it for multiple colors too. All you have to do is go up here to the top under, let's see, where is it now? Oop. Helps if I have the photo selected. Go to Format, and right down here towards the bottom, it is called Instant Alpha. And all you have to do is put your cursor on the color that you want to remove, click, and just drag it a little bit. And you see how it's starting to pick up on different shades of that color? Well, if I go much more than this, I'm going to start to eat into my actual image. So this is where it's going to be good to do it a few times. All you do is drag and let go. And what's going to happen is it's going to create a transparency. So let's get this gray up here. Obviously, I'm doing this very quickly. And when you're done, just click anywhere outside of the image. And there you go. I've removed that gray background. Once again, that trick is you click on the image that you want to modify. Like we can do the broccoli right here. I don't know if you probably can't see it on your screen, but there is definitely a contrast here. This is a white, and beneath it is sort of like a cream. I can click on the broccoli, go to Format, Instant Alpha, click on that white space, and just drag it out just a little bit. And that line that was traveling just below now comes through. Looks almost 3D now. Pretty cool, huh? Anywhere you see text in here, you can manipulate it. Anywhere you see images, you can manipulate them. I'm watching the questions as they're coming in, and one of them I'll go over right now is someone was asking about rotating. Oh, that's a great question. Let's go over that. So my broccoli right here, maybe I want to put it on a little bit more of an angle. All you have to do for that is you have to click on it, and you see how you get these little boxes right here? Okay. Well, on your keyboard, you're going to hold down the Command key and put your cursor on one of the corners. It's hard to do with this size screen. And when you do that, you can see it changes 2 degrees, and now I can rotate my broccoli and put it upside down if I want. I didn't see who that was that submitted that question, but thank you. One of the big tools I want to show you, let's get out of a newsletter for a moment and let's go to just kind of a blank document, because a lot of people have simpler questions and simpler projects they want to do. Go to blank. One of the big things I want to show you is where all of your real tools are. Well, just like in Word, you do have your most commonly used tools up here. So you have what font you use, is it bold, light, oblique, all that jazz. Your font size, your color of the font of your text, bold, italics, underline, left justification, right justification. Okay, but one of the big ones that I like to show people is this thing called the inspector, and the inspector shows up in quite a few different applications on the Mac, and it's represented by a lowercase I in a circle. And when you click on that, that's where you get all of these tools, and this is really everything you need. So up here at the top, there are different tabs, different things that can do things to your document, and we're going to go over them. One thing I want to point out, someone I think yes, Julie, pointed this one out. She said that Julie wrote in a comment about 3 minutes ago. She said that when she writes a document, she's having trouble reading the font, not because it's too small, but it's too small on her screen. Julie, if you look down here at the bottom left of my screen, at the very, very bottom, it's currently set to 125%. And if you want, you can go in as much as you want. You can even go to fit the page. Let's go to 200 for this purpose. Okay, so now you can see my text is pretty big. All right. So over here on the left-hand side, getting back to that, on the first tab, we have your very simple page size settings. So let's say you're not doing a standard 8.5 by 11. You could go here under page setup and change it around. You can go into, tweak it however you want. Your margins are right beneath that. So if we want to do 2-inch margins instead, you can see it's automatically adjusting it. If you use footnotes, you can tell it right here to use footnotes. What style do you want to do? Numbers, Roman numerals, symbols? Another thing that's great is, let's say this is a sensitive document. Let's say it's something like, I don't know, a will. This is a nice little feature here. Require password to open. So you can't password protect things like flash drives, but you can password protect the documents within them. I'm actually looking into that to see if there is a way to do it, and maybe I just don't know. So that's how you do it. And you can even put a little password hint in case you forget it. TOC right up here is underneath the document tab. And this is for if you're going to be doing a table of contents. And basically what will happen is it'll search for page styles. Those of you who do this are probably more professional writers. And you know that you use different styles like body, caption, heading 1, heading 2. And what you can do is have the computer automatically recognize that when something is listed as heading 1, that's the title of a chapter. And it will create an automatic table of contents just for you. Info here, this is just the info associated with the document. Okay, so you can put author, title, keywords, comments, whatever you want there. Let's go to this second tab here, okay? And the second tab we don't really deal with a hell of a lot. But if you want 2 columns in your page, you can go here to 2 column. Now this is this type of 2 columns refers to one where you wouldn't see the border, as opposed to something like a table where you would be able to tell that there are clearly 2 defined columns. I get that question a lot. So it's just second tab, layout, and just change the number to however much you want. And what it'll do is if there's 3 columns, it'll automatically divide it out if you check this box so that they're all evenly spaced. You give your section preferences right here. Okay, if you have different sections that are going to have different properties to them. Next one here has to do with object placement. And let me actually go into my trash and bring back those veggies for a minute. Deleted it too soon. Let's scale that down. If you guys don't know how to scale down, all you have to do is click on any corner here. And just drag it in closer to the document. Okay. So what this third tab right here has to do with is how does text interact with your images. So for example, this one right here, you can see what will happen. Let's see. Let me type in a bunch of dummy text here so I can show you maybe a little bit better. And let's just copy that and paste it over and over. Okay. Okay, so you can see that with it, like right here, it's going to cause the text to go around my image. So if I start moving my image, see how the text is all shifting around my image? Let's make it a little bit smaller here so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, it's causing it to wrap around that image. Okay, it's a very simple trick. This is great. If you do this little trick in school reports, you know, they love it. They eat it up. You can also have it wrap in different ways. Okay. So it'll have different kind of boundaries to it. So if I put it here on the left-hand side, it'll go just like that. Like that. You can also, if you want, sometimes people just want to have something like an image in the background. And if you look right here, that's what this option is for. So now I've just got this subtle image in the background that I can move around behind the text. Sometimes just kind of like a little accent to what you're working with. And if you do that, you're going to probably want to make it a little bit transparent. I'm trying to remember how I do that. I think that would be... I believe that... Oh, I know where that comes in. That comes in just a minute. We'll get there. The next item we have here is text. Okay, so this is part of this is the stuff that you would see up here at the very top when you're writing. So your left justification, center justification, all that stuff. But you can also start to work with the actual text itself. So for example, if I want to change the spacing of the letters here. And now trust me, when I was in college, we all mastered this, because if you have a 10-page paper and you want to make it 12, all you need to do is just take the character spacing and just bump it up a little bit. And you do the same thing for line spacing. So that's the space between each line, the space between each paragraph. I only have one paragraph here. Okay, and you can start to play with that. And even if you just do like 2%, I forget what it is. I think if I remember correctly, if it's 2%, the human eye can't really decipher it that well. Although then again, I guess the teacher would have other papers right behind yours. So you can try. You have different lists here. So if I'm going to be creating some sort of a list here, I can go in here and put in, I can do bullets, text bullets, image bullets, custom images, or numbers. So let's say I'm doing just image bullets. You can see here, you can do way more than just your standard black dot. Okay, you can do this, looks kind of like a marble. You know, they have them in all different colors. We have check boxes. So I can say, pick up. I don't know, something like that. But you can use all these different images here instead of your boring old bullet points. Okay, it just makes it a little bit more fun. You can also change the indent level right here if you want to bump it out a little bit. Now under text, we also have tabs. Okay, I think those are pretty self-explanatory. I think everyone knows what tabs are. Under more, we have everything from paragraph styles for following paragraphs. Pagination, that's a cool word. Pagination. I don't really know what that is actually. And then we can go on to objects. Now this is where I was talking about a minute ago. When we had this image in the background, one of the things you can do is change the opacity of it. And so you can make it a little bit more clear. So it's a very subtle afterthought. Another thing that's nice, this is great for presentations. And a lot of people don't know, how do you do this effect? If you select your image and go here under graphics, there's this cool feature I love called reflection. And it makes it look like it's reflecting in water. See right down there? And you can make it more or less as you want. Usually even if you do just a little bit, even as little as just 13%, it'll just make it look a little classier. It's just nice. See? It just looks simple. You can add a shadow if you like. I'm going to take the reflection off so you can see it. You can add a shadow to your image, okay, and you can change the angle where that shadow is and how dramatic it is. So let's go up to, there we go, 12%. Now you can really see it there. And as I take this little circle and I just twist it around, you can change whatever direction you want. That'll just kind of make it pop a little bit. This is another feature you have here. I realize I'm going in reverse. Sorry about that. Here under stroke, no, you're not going to have a stroke, but you can give a stroke to your picture. So we can go into line, which is just a very simple line, but the really cool one is picture frame. So as you can see, it gives it a little frame, and there are different types of frames. And if you click on this, you can see them. So you can see you can add kind of like corners like that. You can add, you want to make it look like a postage stamp, you can go like that. See, and doesn't that look a little bit more creative than just a simple, four corners? It gives it a little bit more of a personality. Anything you want. And when you start combining some of these effects together, it really helps. So like when you do, the picture frame and you add a, not maybe a reflection, but a shadow to it, it just looks a little bit nicer. Fill doesn't apply to what we're doing here. Under rulers, you can see here we have, what we have selected here. We can change the rotation of it. Okay. But as I said before, For that, you can always just hold the Command key on your keyboard, click on any corner, and just rotate it however you want. This is also good because sometimes it can be really hard to get an exact degree. And what's nice under rulers is you can type it in. Okay? You can also, let's say I don't want the basket this way, I want to flip it the other way. If you look right here, there you go. With one click, I can flip it and reverse the order. Tables. Okay, so if we're going to be creating a table, the way you do that is you click right up here at the very top where it says tables, and this is going to be the area that's going to correspond with it. So as you can see right here, by default on mine, it goes to 3 columns and then 4 rows. I always mix that up, but that is right. Yes, thank you. I don't know why as a kid I always mixed up columns and rows. Don't ask me why. You can change everything here from how thick do you want the cell borders to be. Do you want there to be a background? So for example, this top one here, you can see that it's right now it's going to have a colored fill, or I can just change it to none. Okay, and just type in your text however you want it. If you want to move these borders around, you can just put your cursor right here and just kind of drag them around however you want. This is a nice feature here, depending on what kind of a table you're creating. Right here, if you check this box, whenever you hit the return key, it'll automatically move to the next cell. So if I put in option 1 and I hit return, it goes right to the next one. Don't have to click each time. Let's delete that for a moment. And all right, next is charts. Very, very similar. And for those of you who are familiar with Office, this is going to be a breeze for you. Your charts are right up here, but what you'll notice is that these are a little bit more interesting than the ones that you would see on something like Word, at least in some of the past versions of Word. So let's do like a little pie chart here, okay? And one thing you'll notice is that this is not your standard just plain colors. These have a little bit of a texture to them. They have shading, so they kind of pop. And up here in the very top, we have our little chart database. So you can fill out all of your different regions here. And so as you can see, they put in some dummy statistics right here. By the way, one thing I learned recently, this was interesting. Apple just did a presentation about the iPhone 5. And they were showing how on the iPad, which they were talking about at the beginning, how I think it was 90% of all web traffic is from an iPad. And when Apple does one of their presentations, they actually use these tools. But they did this really interesting trick that makes it look larger than it actually is. You see how the center point here is not quite in the center? That's a little trick, because it makes this 35% look that much bigger. I mean, think about it. What is the difference between 35% and 29%? It's 6%, right? It's not huge. But when your little center justification is not quite in the center, it makes that big one look a hell of a lot bigger. Alan taught me that one. Okay. And you can see here all of your little tools right here for your labels. Do you want it to be as a percentage? Do you want it to be as a currency? As just a plain old number? Whatever you want. You can also what's called explode the wedges, and that's right here. So that will take them apart one by one. Okay. Another thing you can do, this is a very pretty cool thing. Let's get these. You can change up the lighting. So if you want to give it kind of a different feel, you can go to glossy. That's a little too hard for me. And really play with that. You can bevel the edges. A lot of this is really just playing with it. It's just kind of having fun. Oh, this is what I was looking for, sorry. Is you can change the different chart colors. So depending on what you're dealing with, colors may be fine, but maybe you want to do something different. So if you go here to chart colors, they'll give you all your different options here. And there's some pretty cool ones, including, this one's really fun, wood. Let's do apply all. And check that out. It turns my little standard blocks into looking like different types of wood. Okay, and you can do the same thing for marble, metal. Let's just do metal real quick. Okay, it makes it look a little bit more interesting. What else do we have here? We have fun. Okay, it just makes it a little crazy like that. All just little tricks to make your presentation pop. Obviously, one of the areas where this is going to come to play a lot is Keynote. So again, I wanted to show you how to use all these tools in Pages, just because Pages is the most common application. But understand, if you want to create something like a chart or a table in something other than Pages, whether it's Numbers or Keynote, these all work basically the exact same way. Next, we're going to go to QuickTime. And this is pretty cool because one thing, if you want to make a presentation more than anything really pop, is that you're going to introduce things like video and audio, maybe animation, that kind of thing. And this is where this can be really, really nice. So we're getting into these final two tabs here, which have to do with each other. The one on the right is actually called QuickTime. And QuickTime, you've probably seen it pop up on your computer before, but it has to do with video. And so if you want to have a video embedded within your presentation, you can make it so that as you're giving your presentation, you tap the spacebar and the video starts to play. And it's a hell of a lot nicer to do that rather than have to close down the presentation and then open a video. So if you think back to if you've seen any of the Apple keynotes that they've done, the video is embedded right within the Keynote project. This is exactly how they do it. Okay? The one to the left of it, this one with the little arrow, has to do with creating a web link. Okay? So what it means is that it's going to, when you click on it, it's going to go to a web page, but it's going to transition seamlessly. Okay? So for that, what I would need to do is I would need to select some text. Okay? I would click Enable as Hyperlink. I'm going to not allow that at the moment. I'm going to make it so it goes to apple.com. The other thing I can do is I can create it so that links can cause other actions. For example, I can cause it to go to an email. I can cause it to create a bookmark. I can have it open a separate document. All sorts of different things. I guess we don't really need to do any of that stuff there. For the QuickTime video, all you would do is find your video and drop it in. So wherever the file is, you just drop it right here onto your document. And these are your very basic controls. So for example, you can make the video repeat over and over again. I was working with a client recently and they wanted the sound of ocean waves in the background. And the sound clip that they had was only 30 seconds long, but they were going to be talking for longer than 30 seconds. What you can do is you can have it auto repeat over and over and over again. Also, additionally, let's say you have a video, but you only wanted to play a certain segment of it. Well, instead of having to edit it, what you can do is, if you look right here, you can change the start and stop times. So it'll start at, say, 16 seconds and stop at 30 seconds. All right, I'm going to start looking at some of the questions we're getting in here, because I know this is a very, very big topic to cover. One of the questions I got is, I have photos in iPhoto, how do I get them into my document? Great question. If you look right next to Inspector, we have Media. Okay? And in Media, this is where we start to have a lot of that interactive content that we already have. So if it's in your iPhoto library, music that's in your iTunes library, movies that you put together in iMovie. Okay. So all we have to do is go here under Photos, find the photo you want, and just drag it and drop it right into your document. And like I said, if you want to change the size of it, you just click on the corner and just drag it out like that. Oh, I always make note, these are not my photos. These are the photos of the Conch Color, which is a magazine that I have a contract with, and I make their magazine into an iPad edition every week. And I keep their photos on my computer because it's easy to use them. But as you can see here, when I clicked on the Photos tab, I'm actually in iPhoto. So if you have taken the time to create different events, you can go into those events and drag them in, okay, however you want. Isn't that pretty? Likewise, with audio, if you have music in iTunes or if you put together something in GarageBand, you can take your song and drop it right in here. Again, that's going to be more for presentations, not so much documents, but you can do that. And the same is true for movies. Your different colors, if you want to start really playing with colors of different text. Okay, let's add some text in here. If you want the full color wheel, that's what colors up here is for. And so you can really pick it to be whatever color you want. Now, I'm going to go back to the, I realized I skipped over one little part here. We're going to go back to that newsletter here. One thing I had mentioned to you, and I realized I forgot to go over, and thank you to Marilyn for reminding me, is that I said that when you move your cursor over any of those templates, it shows you that it's more than one page. Marilyn pointed out, how do you get to them? Great, thank you very much. All you have to do is up here where it says plus pages, these are all your different template pages. So right now we're just on the cover, but you have a 3-column, a 2-column with sidebar, a plain old text page, a back page. You can even get it so that the back is a mailer. So if you're going to fold this in half and staple it, you could put the person's name and information right on here and send it to them in the mail, just like that. Again, thank you, Marilyn. I can't believe I forgot that part. Now, sometimes you want text just to be floating around somewhere and it's not in a standard location, and that's where text boxes come into play. And to do that, all you have to do is click here at text at the top where it says text box, type in whatever you want. Okay, we'll just use their text. And with this, you can just drag it wherever you want. It is transparent by default, so if I want to put it, kind of right over here on the side, I can do that without having to, hit enter, 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 tab in, and then put it there. You can just draw them wherever you want. Shapes you can add to your presentations. Like let's say I want to put an arrow pointing to the name of my company here. I can click on shapes. You can see here I have all sorts of different things here. I can put my arrow. Now if you remember correctly, this arrow right here is pointing to the right, but I might want to flip it, okay? If I want to be aligned and flip it, I would go into my inspector once again. Remember this part? Would go to rulers and flip it, just like that. You can also, notice when you click on the corners, you can make all the objects, you can make them skinnier or fatter, however you want. Okay, I see a lot more questions starting to come in now, so I'm going to get into some of them. Okay, Bill has a great question. He has a question about creating a PDF, and also what is it? PDF stands for Portable Document Format. Basically what it means is it's an image. It's something you cannot edit once it's created unless you have special software. So if I want to create a PDF of this, and a newsletter is a perfect example, because when you send out a newsletter, people don't need to modify it, and plus sending a PDF is a hell of a lot more friendly than sending out a Pages document. If you send a Pages document, for example, to a Windows user, they won't be able to open it. So that's why we have PDF. And there's a couple different ways you can do it, and I want to show you them. The first is to click on, at the very top here, you'll see it says Share. Okay? Now, if you're going to do it by email, you can just go watch this. You go to Send Via Email PDF. Now, if you are using any mail other than the Apple Mail program, that'd be the little postage stamp icon. If you're using anything else, this will not work. In that case, you need to go into Export. And if you look here, it's the very first option. You can also see some of your other choices here. For example, you can do a Word document. Okay? So if you're sending it to a PC user, you want to do Word because they're going to be able to open it. RTF, which is rich text format, is great if you're just dealing with text. It's a very versatile format. It'll be read by pretty much everything out there. Plain text nothing but text, okay? It's going to just break it down to very, very basics. And EPUB. Now, EPUB is what a lot of the ebook readers use. So let's say you have painstakingly put together a book and you want to self-publish that book. Well, using a simple combination of Pages and Apple's ebook author program, you can self-publish your own book. Whether it's you want to do it on your own website, you want to put it into the Apple iBookstore, okay, you can do it on your own. And this is how you would do it, is you would select EPUB. Now, in a newsletter, you wouldn't do that, but you would in a standard document. Another question I want to answer, just in case you run into it, is let's say you're on a website. This happens a lot of times when you're on something like a medical website, and someone, you want to get a PDF of that web page. A lot of people don't know how to do it. It's a little odd the way you do it, by my own admission, but here's how you do it. Pretty much on anything, if you go to File, and of all places, you go to Print. At the very bottom, there's an option to save as a PDF. Oh, about 20 people just went. That's how you do that. All right, let's see what other questions we have that are coming in here. Okay. Let's see, who put that question out? I think it was Bob. It was either Bob. Yeah, I think it was Bob. Bob from Minneapolis, I believe, asked a question about saving documents to the iCloud. So a lot of you have heard about iCloud. It is basically the easiest way to sync together all of your data. For example, if I start working on this document on my computer, I can finish working on it on my iPad. And the way you do that is simply when you go to hit save, okay? Oops. Let's go to... That was a little odd. Huh. I wonder if it's because we're in a newsletter. Normally that would not pop up there. Let's go to just a new blank page. Should not be giving me that screen. I don't know if I did something to this or not. I think I haven't updated something. Normally, sorry folks, normally when you go to hit File and Save, or when you're even when you're creating the document, it'll say where do you want to put it. And there's two options, one of which is iCloud, and I know why, because I don't have iCloud on this account. This is my dummy account. Sorry. If we were to switch to my account, and I can't do that because I'll get kicked off of the virtual classroom software. If you were signed into iCloud, when you go to hit File Save, it'll say, would you like to save it to your Mac, or would you like to save it to iCloud? As soon as you save it to iCloud, you can then open it on your iPad or what other devices you have. Just make sure you're signed in. Now, to modify them, you would need Pages on your iPad. And by the way, if you buy Pages for your Mac, that is not the same as Pages for your iPad. They are two separate charges. Sorry, I was wondering why that didn't happen. Okay, what else can we go over here? Let me see if there's any others coming in. Okay, well, let's move on to numbers for the moment. I'm going to not save this one, and let's go here into numbers. Now, just like we had with Pages, with numbers, we have a ton of different templates here. Everything from checking registers, budgets, retirement savings, net worth calculators, put together your mortgage, all sorts of different stuff. Weight trackers, journals, all sorts of different stuff. Okay? If you're a teacher, you can put in a grade book here. Okay? And all of these work the exact same way. You're just simply replacing their information with your information. What's nice is that these templates can be really, really handy. And if you do like a quick Google search, you can actually find people who will create tons of other templates for iWork. So let's just go into a blank one right here, and you'll see that it looks very, very similar to Pages. It's just that in this case, we're dealing with numbers instead of words. So one of the biggest pains, by the way, when I was a kid, I was terrible in math. I mean, C was like a good grade for me in math. Everything else, I was A's and B's. Math, horrible. Math is hard, by the way. And one of the things I always hated with Excel was having to try to remember all those different functions, right? So you had to do one for if you wanted to add all the different tables up, another one if you wanted to average them. It was a pain in the butt. But let me show you how easy it is with numbers. Let's just do a couple quick ones. So 1, I hit enter, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's say the next one I want to be a sum of all of those put together. Okay? Watch how easy it is. All I have to do is start at the very top cell, and just like it was as if this was text, all I have to do is hold Shift and hit the down arrow so that I select those cells. And this is a total lifesaver. It says function right here. And when you click on it, it'll automatically do all these for you. So if I click sum, there you go. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 equals 15. It'll also do it if you're doing it horizontally. So by the way, if you, in case you didn't know, you notice I'm going between these cells very quickly, right? If you're going vertically and you hit the return key, so that'll be on the right side above Shift, it'll automatically knock it down to the next one. Whereas if I'm over here and I want to go to the next one to the right, I can hit Tab. Tab 3, Tab 4, Tab 5. Same thing. I select all of those cells, go to Function, Sum, and I have it right there. The other functions you can do here are sum, average, minimum, maximum, count, product, show function browser, formula editor. So you can create your own. One that I find to be handy is I'll create my own invoices, not actually using numbers, but using pages. And so what I'll do is let's say these are all, let's just pretend these are all dollars, okay? And before you have the total, or after you have the subtotal, what would you have? You would have the tax, right? So here's how you would do your own custom formula. Now, it's different for everyone, but I'm going to try to give you a basic idea of how to do this. I'm also going to give you a very good resource so that if you're going to be doing a lot of work with numbers, I'm going to show you where you can get the whole manual for free, okay? To do this, to do a formula, you always start it with the equal sign, equals, okay? And so let's say I want to do this 15, which is the total. So all I do is I click on it, and I want to add in the tax, okay? So let's do that total times, so that would be Shift 8 to get that star icon. And the tax here in Massachusetts is 0.0625. And when I hit enter, there you go. That's it. So now if cell 9 here, B9, is going to be this plus this, all I have to do is hit equals, click on the first one, put in plus, put this here, and hit enter. Now let's say I have a whole bunch of different numbers in these columns here. So let's say I have 5 here and 1. Over here I have 665 and 2. Okay. If I want to have this formula carry across the board, all I have to do is click on that cell, and it's going to be hard for you guys to see, but at the very bottom right there's a little circle. If I click on that and I drag it out, it carries the same formula for different columns. Very handy trick. You can also go right here into the formula list and see all these different formulas that I have used so far. So if you need to suddenly change all of your formulas, you can do that right here. Otherwise, pretty much all of the same information is true. Now, I promised I would give you access to where you can get the free book so you can go through and read all about numbers in detail if you're going to do different complex operations. The way you get there, I'm going to swing my screen over here for a moment. If you want to remember this is being recorded, so for those of you who are here live at the moment, you can go back and check this out later. And for those of you who are watching it on video, you might want to pause it. This is the exact web link to go to, and you can get Apple's iWork Formulas and Function User Guide. Okay? manuals.info.apple.com, and then this is just kind of your English, so /en_us/formulas_and_functions_user_guide.pdf. That was long. By the way, I'll teach you a quick little trick here, okay? Now, this is a PDF that I am reading online. But what happens if I want to actually download this PDF? Does anyone know? We already went over it. But all you do is you go to File. I know I said this a minute ago. Print, PDF, save as PDF. And that way you'll have it for offline viewing. By the way, it's a really fun read. It's only 372 pages. Woohoo! That's if you're doing really complex stuff. Or you can do like me and you hire an accountant because you accept your own shortcomings. Hit don't save, and let's talk a little bit about Keynote. Now, as I said, if you go through and you watch some of Apple's presentations, you'll start to notice that every presentation Apple gives, they use this software, okay? And you can create some amazing presentations. By the way, you notice on all of these, when you first open it, you can hit click to play and see pretty much a full tutorial of how to use all these different applications. So the one that Apple uses in all of theirs is this third one right here called Gradient. Okay? You can see even just this stuff, it all looks very familiar to a lot of you. But you have all sorts of different styles in here. They've added more in not that long ago. Okay? And some of them are they're really classy. I mean, like Blackboard here I think is kind of cool. It's got this interesting background texture that does make it look like a blackboard. And this is where things like that instant alpha trick that I taught you just a minute ago, where you can remove background colors, is going to come really in handy. Now, of course, the other part of doing some sort of a presentation is being able to rehearse it. Now, a lot of times when people are giving a presentation, they want one thing on their computer and a different image on the projector. And if that's what you're going to be doing, you can do that with this. And to do that, all you have to do is go into Custom Presenter Display. So at this point, you're going to see here that you can, just how much you can tweak the presenter's display. You can have notes here. You can even have a full script right on the screen. The audience would never know it because the audience is seeing a different image. You can move all these windows around here, okay? So if I want to put a little timer right here, I can put elapsed time. I can do time remaining instead, if I like, okay? I can do a preview of the next slide, okay? So this right here is my current slide. This one right here is theoretically, I'm sorry, that's end of, well, that is the end of show because that is my next slide. I don't have more than one. But that's what you'd have there, okay? You can have notes down here at the very bottom, however you want. And then you just tweak it to the way you want it, okay? Cheryl asked if I already have done a presentation in PowerPoint, can I open it in Pages? I mean, in Keynote. Yes, you can. You're going to probably get a couple little error messages because fonts are different on a Mac than they are on a PC. Even Arial, for example, which is the most universal font, is ever so slightly different on a Mac than it is on a PC. It's minor. You'd never notice it by the human eye, but it is slightly different. But if you get those warnings, don't worry about them. It's fine. And then you can add in your own backgrounds and really jazz it up here. Other things you can do, you can go back into the inspector on this one, and you can see that we have different effects. Okay, so the first tab we have here is, let's say I want to do let's add a second slide here. So let's call it okay. To add a new slide, all you have to do is click here at the little plus sign at the top left, and there you go. Now you'll notice it went automatically to one with a bullet point and with a title. What if I don't want that? That's okay. If you go here under Masters, you can see all the different layouts. And keep in mind, when using things like text boxes, you can create your own. So let's say I want to do photo horizontal. Okay, this works the exact same way the Pages does. All I would have to do to swap out their image is go under Media, find the photo that I want, drop it right in there. Okay. Now let's say I want to transition between the two, because if you've watched Apple's keynotes, that's one of the big things they do. They have some pretty cool transitions that are a lot more fun than the ones you'd see with Word traditionally. To do that, all you have to do is be on the slide previous to it. Go here under Effect, and you have a whole bunch of different ones. My favorite one, which they do all the time, let's see, where is it here, is it looks like it's, is it Swing? I don't think it's Swing. It's one where it comes down and crushes everything. No, not Doorway. Well, this is a good thing to show, though. You'll notice that when I go to different ones here, I can object push. It'll give me a little preview of it right up here. Sparkle, push, perspective. I don't know why I can't find the one that I really love. And so then when you want to test out your presentation, it's as easy as going to the play button, which is right up here at the very top right. And you'll see when I use my arrows on my keyboard, there we go, just like that. By the way, to get out of the preview mode, all you have to do is hit escape. Let's see, what other questions are we getting in here at this moment? Actually, we're not getting in that many at the moment. That's okay. Sometimes people just want to watch. Oh, okay, here's one. This could actually be applied to any of them. How big do these presentations get in terms of can I fit them on a flash drive? It's really going to vary. If you have video embedded within your presentation, within your Keynote, the Keynote presentations can become pretty big where you would need a decent sized flash drive to be able to fit it. But ultimately, there's no way to say across the board. But you can save any of these on a flash drive and move them around. By the way, I just discovered the other day there's a new trend coming in. I've yet to find a really good one. But when we're talking about things like documents, one of the things I like to bring up is the importance of protecting them. Because especially when you start to get into things like wills, when you get into what happens if you're in a car accident and you're not, and you're a vegetable, those kind of power of attorney. Thank you, whoever just commented on that. You want to protect these documents. So I want to show you a couple quick tricks for how to do that, because I think at this point we've covered pretty much all of the tools. It's just a matter of, are you doing it in a document, are you doing it in a spreadsheet, or are you doing it in a presentation? All these tools are basically the same. So let's talk a little bit about protecting your stuff. The first is to use a technology called Dropbox. And I use it myself. You can see that my icon is right up here. And Dropbox basically is a form of cloud storage, which means that when you put something in Dropbox, it's not actually, it'll save a copy to your computer, but it also has a copy on a third-party server, a big computer somewhere else. So if you need to access it when you're not at home, you can. Dropbox is a free service up to a certain extent. You can get to it by just going to dropbox.com. It's also a great way if you're, I'm going to deny because I don't want to sign me in. Dropbox is also great. If you don't have iCloud, you can still basically have access to all this stuff just simply by using Dropbox. You can store anything you want. anything from photos, applications, music, documents. So Dropbox will install itself as a folder in your computer. On mine, if I go into Finder, I have a little shortcut for it right here. And what's really great with Dropbox is, let's use that scenario I just mentioned a second ago. Let's say you're in a horrible car accident and people need to know what do you want to have happen in this situation. Do you want them to pull you off life support or keep you on it? Well, if you have that kind of a document in Dropbox and your loved one knows the password, without having to go to your home and fetch those documents, they could go to a computer and pull it up, and you'd have the information instantly. And when you have potential pain and suffering at hand, that kind of time difference is very, very significant. The other thing you can do, of course, is you can put it onto a flash drive. Now, there are tons of different types of flash drives out there. One of the things you're going to see on our website coming out very soon, in fact, some of you, when you see this, it may be available now, is you're going to find that on our website at pcclassesonline.com, we're going to have an added store where we're going to post links to all the products that we talk about that we love. And remember, we only talk about products that we do love. We don't get paid to do any of the other stuff. So my favorite flash drive, which I actually have right in front of me right now, is made by a company called LaCie, L-A-C-I-E. Now, for the most part, I hate all products that are made by LaCie, except for this one. And they also make, I will say, they make very, very good laptop bags. If you have a laptop and need a good bag, they are very good at this. And it's called the LaCie It's a Key. And this is the one I have right here. So what it is it looks just like a key, and what's great is it can actually go onto your keychain. So on mine, for example, I have 2 installable operating systems. I have a backup of important documents, a backup of my address book, all sorts of different stuff. And it's portable storage wherever you go. There's also now a new trend coming out where people are making wristbands that have USB ports in them. So you can store all of your documents on your wrist. If you do that, make sure you password protect those documents. You never know what will happen. The other thing that's great about USB flash storage is that it is highly water resistant. It is not waterproof, but it is very highly water resistant. The story I tell everyone is that I had a flash drive that was in a puddle for 2 weeks, and it was fine. I basically was getting in my car, and it fell out of my pocket. I'm trying to see if there are any other questions here, because we are now running overtime. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let me take a look. To answer your question, Lindsay, the different applications that we've talked about, they are, I believe, I'll find out for sure, I think they're $20 a piece on the App Store, so that would be for your computer. I'm right. They're $20 a piece on your computer, and on the iPad, I believe they're $9 a piece. It's a much more dumbed down version on the iPad. You can still do a lot, but personally, when I do documents, I really like to use my computer more than anything. All right. Well, I think we've answered everyone's questions. So I hope you all had fun today. I hope you learned a lot. One final thing before we go. I'm going to give you one other little resource, okay? Now, obviously, we're talking about these 3 applications that can do a lot, okay? And you're probably going to have questions about them. I want to show you a great resource when you run into those road bumps. Now, the website you're actually going to go to is not my website, but I have created a link to it so that you can easily get there. So this is our small business website. It's called The Mac Guru. And so if you go to our website, which is themacguru.net, there's a little button here called Video Tutorials. And what that'll do is it'll take you to Apple's own page. And once you're here, you're going to click on iWork. And they have a ton of video tutorials about everything you can possibly imagine having to do with Pages, Numbers, or Keynote. And those should be able to answer a lot of your questions. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.